Rabbi Israh li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. So we start now? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya wal mursalin sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa alihi washabbihi ajmain. Uh, the voice is clear? Oh, okay. I feel nervous. There's 6 people. There are too many,
Come on, man.
Alhamdulillah, we're blessed today with almost full house. With, and it is sort of what a coincidence as well. So today we're gonna have a season finale.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is the last mother in the Ummahatul Mu'minin, the mothers of believer.
It's like catching the last rakah.
Yeah, it's catching the last one. Yeah, you didn't get the takbiratul ikram. This is the last one. So this is one of our mothers, the um, the mothers of believers that probably not many people know. Have you heard this before this week? This name? Anyone? Common name. Oh, okay. So probably not so much common where I'm from. Maymunah, bint al-Hadith. All right, let's start. Unfortunately, not many stories about her. If I just probably tell the stories about her, probably will finish around 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and not many stories. Of course, not as less compared to one of the mothers, Zainab binti Khuzaimah, very only, and then she was only married only for 3 years with our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So it's not many not many that stories that extracted from her, but I will probably have to fill in some of these to make that we have another like 1 hour or something. I don't know. Let's see. Bismillah. So yes, let me close this first. Okay. So let's talk about this again for every series, for every class of this series. I always remind people that what is the mother of the believers. So hopefully, if people just watch any one of the movie or one of the clips that we make, people, oh, this is the mother of the believers, something that not unfortunately not many people know about that. Of course, all the learn like probably medium or sort of average Muslim might know about this, but not many people. This is a status of them, and their special status even is mentioned in Quran. So the mothers Ummahatul Mu'minin. So the verses in Surah Al-Ahzab when Allah mentions that the Nabi is the protector for you, and then the azwajuhu ummahatuhum. So Allah mentioned the mu'min. So you can see that the mu'min is one level up after the Muslim is the mu'min. So the mu'min, Rasulullah Sallam have affinity towards you, have what do you call that? Have something like protecting, right? So it's like a father figure, if you will. But then the mother is the wives of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is your mothers. So they are like the mothers for the mu'mins. So you're making mu'mins, right, brother Adil? You're making mu'mins. Don't forget to include them because the mu'min have to believe they have mothers. They have at least 11 mothers, which is the mother, the 11 mother. So this reveals the faith of in Medina. So there's the Rasulullah is the protector. The Ummahatul Mu'minin is a plural of So it's, of course it's not biological. It's something that is the mother of tarbiyah, the mother of education, the mother that should gain our respect and our venerations as of our mother. And one of the one of the sense that they're not allowed to get remarried after the demise of Prophet Muhammad SAW because the figure and then it says among the Sahaba, the companions, they show respects to our mothers. So this is again the blessing, and the word itself, like the Makkah is the Qura, the Fatihah the Quran, and so on and so forth. This is something that is a blessing to us. So I'm just gonna go through this quickly. So one of the definition is they are part of the Ahlul Bayt. And as you see, Banu Ahlul Bayt has two categories. One of them is the descendant of Banu Hasim. So even Abu Lahab were Muslim, and he will be part of the Ahlul Bayt as well. So Abdullah bin Abbas, the uncle, Ali bin Abi Talib, they're all Jafar bin Abi Talib, they're all the cousins of Rasulullah SAW. They're all considered part of the Banu Hasim. They become the Ahlul Bayt, which is that means they're haram for them to receive zakah. Is it? And Allah mentions that Allah won't purify you, all the mothers, right? Innama yuridu lahu Allah wants to purify you, ya ahlul bayt. So Allah even mentioned the wives of Prophet Muhammad is ahlul bayt. So of course a different strand with the other strands of Muslim. They say this is not part of the ahlul bayt. Yes, the wives of the Prophet Muhammad SAW, by the very text of Quran, Surah Al-Ahzab, they are actually the ahlul bayt, the household, the members of the family. Of course, they're not like any other women. As I mentioned to you, they are haram for marriage after the demise of Rasulullah SAW, and definitely they deserve respects and love. Unfortunately, how can we show respects and love if we don't know them? So it's all with this forum, MCSK Friday Talk, right? So we have a forum to know. To know is to love, right? So, so we cannot show love and respect if we don't know these mothers. Alhamdulillah, we have ability at least to know one or two, and then probably we can seek to find more stories about them and how they can benefit in our life. Why all of these stories actually recorded? Why all of these stories actually preserved until the end of time? Because definitely these stories of our mothers should have something that we can extract as the lessons and how we do our lives, especially in the realm of family and dealing with wives and families and so on. So that's why come to the next step, or the next blessing or definition is they become the teachers as well as the role models, right? And one of the blessings of the wives of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is that not only they are the wives in this world, but they become the wives of Rasulullah SAW in the hereafter. So you can imagine their status, their maqam, suddenly they're completely different sort of a maqam, right? Different level. Yes. Okay, I thought you give me a sign. Now I'm very sensitive now. All right. Yes, they are, as mentioned, they are haram for marriage, and they have ahlul bayt. That's just one few notes I put in the ahlul bayt. There's a sadaqah is impure for the family of Rasulullah SAW. There's one story of Fadil bin Abbas was asking, "Can I have some of the sadaqah?" No, no, you cannot get that. So this is again, this is one of the restriction from Allah that the ahlul bayt, they are not supposed to get the sadaqah or the zakah from the ummah. And there's the stories of Hafsa when we talk about our mother Hafsa, when Rasulullah SAW at the verge of divorcing her. In other narrations, he was actually divorced, and Jibril came down and said, "You remarry the lady again because she will be your wife in Jannah." Subhanallah. It's amazing. That's why part of the salawat of Rasulullah SAW, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. There's also another Allahumma salli wa ala azwaji Muhammad. That means upon the wives of Prophet Muhammad, one of the versions of the salawat. All right, so these are the 11s. As you can see, Maymunah is the last one, who's the number 11. I don't know whether you can actually view that from Brother Fit. Can you see it from there? No. Yeah.
You mean the video?
No, no. You when you're sitting there, can you see? No.
Yeah,
You can, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So Maymunah, you can see the longest marriage was with Khadijah, 25 years. So this is during that time. The marriage was monogamous. There's only one wife. But then after the demise of Khadijah radiallahu anha, then Rasulullah married the second lady, which is Sauda, and then almost a few years after that, and the last one was Maymunah, and then she was just married for about 3 years. So you can see I put this in Excel and put the diagram chart on that. We're gonna talk about some other lady that considered to be the wives, but they're not. We talk about that at the end, inshallah. So these are the wives, and we have already covered all of them. Subhanallah. So it's probably like one wife per month. So that means 10 months. So this is 11 months, and this is Maymunah. Uh, she's probably one of the she passed away at the age of almost 80 years old. Of course, the longest one is Salama. She's who lived the longest. Right, Maymunah bint al-Harith radiallahu anha. So she was born 23 years of the younger than Rasulullah SAW. And then this was something interesting. I don't know whether you remember that her original name was Barra, and then at the time of marriage to Rasulullah SAW, Rasulullah changed her name to Maymunah. And then, if you know, this is not the first wife. This is the third wife. The first wife was Juwairiyah, and the second wife what's the second wife? I can't remember. Juwairiyah and Zainab binti Jas was also by her original name was Barra, and probably that time there's so many popular name Barra, and then it changed. Why is it changed? Because Barra means like a self piety, like it means piety. Then fala tuzakku anfusahum, do not praise yourself. This is from, I can't remember, this Surah Najm. Do not praise yourself. Because of that, Rasulullah translated that you should not be calling yourself, like you cannot call yourself muttaqi, right, or muttaqin or something like that. You cannot call yourself, you can call yourself Muslim but not call yourself like people with taqwa or something, or Ahlul Jannah or something. Right, so you're not allowed to call yourself Barra. Then Rasulullah changed her name during the marriage to become Maymunah, which is something like a blessing, the pure or the blessed. That's what it means. And she was from one of the tribes, the small tribes, not small. I think there's a tribe that is compared to Quraysh. She's the only. There's three ladies from non-Quraysh. This is one of them. Maymunah is another Quraysh. So Hilal is from Nukur. And Zainab binti Huzaimah also. Interestingly, this is interesting actually. Maymunah is actually the half sister of Zainab binti Khuzaimah. That means it's like Zainab is also the wife of Rasulullah, so the one that passed away during the life of Rasulullah. So only married for 3 years and she passed away. So it's actually the sister, the half sister, not a full sister. So at least two, Zainab binti Khuzaimah as well as Juwariyah, they are all non-Quraysh. The rest are like Sauda, Aisha radiallahu anha, Zainab binti Jas, and then Hafsa, Aisha, Sauda, Khadija, they're all Quraysh. Three of them not Quraysh. And then one of them is non-Arabs. You remember? The the Jews, yeah, the Jews lady, which is Safiya binti Huyai, right? So yes, Zainab binti Khuzaimah was her half sister, and then one of the it's not four, it's actually three. One of the three, which is a non-Quraysh Arab, and then she's already married twice, and that marriage was they got divorced, and they're not Muslims at the time. So Rasulullah was actually the third husband, and she was married around the 30 years old. Uh, as I said, not many stories about her, so I found something quite interesting. The mother of this lady, Maymunah bint al-Harith, is many scholars refer this mother is the grandest mother-in-law. Why? Let me share with you why. She has 12 children, 11 to 12 children, five five daughters. They're married to Lubaba, married to Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, and they have the sons by one of the famous scholar during the Rasulullah SAW, which is Abdullah bin Abbas, radiallahu anhuma. And then the second daughter is Maymunah, married to Rasulullah SAW. The third daughter, which is Zainab binti Khuzaimah, also married to Rasulullah SAW. This is she married few times, so from a different. You can see here Fadl and Maymunah from the same father, and then Asma binti Umais. This is very interesting. Asma binti Umais was originally married to Ja'far, and they migrated to Abyssinia, and then when they came back, and Ja'far was sent by Rasulullah SAW to the Battle of Mu'tah, and Ja'far passed away, and then just after the Iddah time, the Iddah time, right? And Abu Bakr came and then asked for her hand on for marriage, and then they got married. They actually have a son by that, by Muhammad bin Abu Bakr, but then Abu Bakr 2 years after that passed away, and Ali bin Abi Talib, which is actually the younger brother of Ja'far, proposed for marriage, and they got married. Okay, so Muhammad bin Abu Bakr actually raised in the house of Ali bin Abi Talib, right? So a lot of people says that Abu Bakr hate Ali bin Abi Talib do not like the family of Abu Bakr. It's just completely wrong, right? So this is the Ali bin Abi Talib actually married the widow of Abu Bakr as well as the widow of his own older brother. It's quite unique. So Asma bint Umayyah is married to one of the three big Sahaba, Jafar bin Abu Talib, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and Ali bin Abi Talib. And then Salma bint Umayyah married to the uncle of Prophet Muhammad SAW, which is Hamzah. So that's why she was referred to the grandest mother-in-law, right? So, and Jafar, if you remember, Jafar died in the Battle of Mu'tah, right? So at the time, so Jafar passed away, and then the Zaid bin Haritha, which is, if you remember the story, if Zaid was alive after Prophet Muhammad SAW died, passed away, he could have been the Khalifa, right? So it's very dear to Rasulullah SAW. So Jafar passed away, and then Zaid bin Haritha passed away, and then this what's his name? Abdullah bin Rawa died, and this way Khalid bin Walid came. Right, so it's a Khalid bin Walid first achievement as being the general of the army. That is the time when they fight against the the Byzantine army. So this is the grandest. So let's go back to Maymunah bint al-Harith. So she embraced Islam. Not many stories, no detail of her conversion story. She was still in Makkah at that time, and and there was no story about her whatsoever until almost like the 7th year of Hijrah, when Rasulullah SAW, after the during the Umrah, and when they came to Makkah, and at the time Maymunah was already divorced twice, and she decided to embrace Islam. And then when she heard that the Rasulullah SAW came for to do uh, Umrah, and she come and propose herself. Why don't you just like Khadijah radiallahu anha, right? She's interested to become the wife, and then she find a way to do that through her friends and so on. The same thing Maymunah was thinking probably could be the mother of a believer as well. So she come and then find someone, and Rasulullah agreed to that. So that's why they came about. So there's no story about her until the 7th Hijrah, during the time of Umrah at the time. So the Umrah is called Umratul Qadha. If you remember, there was 1 year after the Treaty of Hudaybiyah when they're not allowed to go to Umrah, and then the next year Rasulullah came to the Umrah. Says that the met, and Maymunah at the time was in Makkah. They joined the Umrah, and she decided I want to be the Mu'minin, and she approached Fadl. This is the name that I just saw in the 2 slides away. Fadl is the wife of Abbas, which is the uncle of Rasulullah SAW. And so why don't you? Fadl is actually her half sister, right? I wanna marry to Rasulullah SAW, and Fadl talked to Abbas. How about this? And Abbas said, come to Rasulullah SAW. Why don't you marry? And Rasulullah agreed to that. So then Rasulullah sent someone to propose for Maymunah, and Abbas become the wali, and then that's why they got the marriage. So the marriage, and at that time, because they came under the Treaty of Hudaybiyah, the the Quraysh at the time says, no, you cannot stay this longer. I just got married. Can I just stay here for a day longer or something like that? Let's have a party, let's have a feast, and we cook and come to our. So you've been here for whatever you need to do Umrah, just go away. So this is and because of that, Rasulullah SAW was trying to negotiate, even though there's a treaty, that is, they cannot come to Makkah except for a certain year, and at the time they do the Umrah. So they ordered them to leave, but Rasulullah says, okay, try to negotiate and so on and whatnot. And they outside of a small town called Sarif, which is about 10 miles away from Makkah. And this is one thing that I found something interesting. The interesting part is it was Abbas mentioned, Abdullah bin Abbas mentioned in the Sahih Muslim that Abdullah bin Abbas and Maymunah was his auntie, right? His auntie, he says, I saw Rasulullah marriage with Maymunah while he was in Ihram. And this is become a fiqh issue because he actually gave a fatwa that is allowed for you to do nikah during ihram. but this is not what the belief of other people. So even now, all the four mazhab actually do not really talking about mazhab, the four imams, but about the four imams. The imam, that none of them agree to that. They say during ihram. You know the word ihram, right? The word ihrams come from the same root as haram, right? So haram means that means like Masjidil Haram. You can do anything, something that halal outside, but in this place it's become haram. The same thing with ihram. When you in the state of ihram, there are certain deed that you can do it halal outside of that become haram. One of them is nikah, right? So almost all the imam says it's not nikah, but Abdullah bin Abbas says he saw that is actually the hadith in Sahih Muslim. But of course, general view is no marriage whilst you're in ihram, right? So one of the blessing for her to become Muslim that the whole of her tribe, which is the Banu Hilam, become Muslims also. At least majority of them become Muslim. This is one, and I just want a quick note in here, right? It is actually quite interesting. Hadith is actually in quoted by one of the great companions, which is Abdullah bin Abbas. Sahih is actually captured in the Sahih Muslim, but the content is he allowed nikah during ihram. But also another hadith by Maymunah herself, in also in the Sahih Muslim, says I actually married outside of Makkah, not in ihram. So you can see there's a two different narration, even though it's a Sahih, both is Sahih, and majority ulama says this probably an honest mistake from Abdullah bin Abbas radhiallahu anhu. Probably, I think probably he was at the time 8 or 9 years old or something like that. So he captured that he thought he was probably still in ihram and so on. And again, that's why it's one of the lessons. It's not probably easy if you just, get a hadith and just throw it to forums and without actually learning it, without actually understanding it. It's actually might cause different interpretations and so on. All right, so I just put a note here as a lesson learned. All right, so another thing I want to share, which is again, there are not many stories about this mother. So I want to share something about this is Surah Al-Ahzab, where Allah mentioned three types of marriage of Rasulullah. One is the wife, is a normal wife. One is what we call is milk yamin, which is a captive. If you have a female captive after a war or battle, then this captive become halal for you. And this is commonly at the time. So Rasulullah also allowed, as you see, for example, one of the captives that married to Rasulullah was the mother of Ibrahim, which is Maria. We're gonna talk about her inshallah. And the third category was is called wahabat nafsaha. If a believing woman, wa amra'atun mu'minat, came to Rasulullah and said, and I offer myself, then she become halal for Rasulullah SAW. This is only specific for Rasulullah SAW. That's why Rasulullah SAW in min dunil mu'minin, in the next verse to that, that's only, right? That's only for Rasulullah, not for you and me, right? So don't go around to the mall and right. Do not try to interpret. So it's only. So that's when khalisatun laka. That's why khalisatun laka. This only exclusive for you, right? That's why I put this yellow. What do you call it? The yellow marker. So just in case you start go around and ask. All right. And then that's because of that no dowry. There's no nikah, right? It becomes sort of nikah. So I offer myself to you, right? So and this is and it's different with the milk yamin, right? And also different with Safiya, for example. Safiya was actually married. She was a milk yamin, but her freedom from milk yamin from a slave to be the word slave is not politically correct for some reason. I don't like the word captive. Is it? Yeah, or milk yamin. I rather say milk yamin. Sorry, the right hand possess. Yes, it is milk yamin. Yamin, the right hand. Milk means ownership, right? From the word malik. All right. Oh, it must be raining outside. All right. And then this is one of the very interesting story. It was the story of Ibn Abbas. I told you last week and last month when we talked about this, right? Abdullah bin Abbas. Uh, he was one. I don't know. You remember this story? Abdullah bin Abbas is a very interesting story. Uh, Rasulullah actually made dua that Abdullah bin Abbas, Allah gave him the blessing of understanding Quran. Because of that, after the demise of Rasulullah Sallam, Umar bin Khattab, if I'm not mistaken, and Abdullah bin Abbas was very young at the time, probably like 10, 12 or something like that. So Abdullah bin Abbas, Umar bin Khattab, wherever he went, it's always Abdullah bin Abbas. He was just very young, and then there was a lot of senior companions, 50, 60, and whatnot, right? So they're confused. Why you bring this little kid with you, right? Okay, let me ask you these questions. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحُ. What do you mean? What is the translation? Oh, the translation mean after the end of the time, people will come to in big numbers to embrace Islam. How about you? Everyone have that interpretations of this surah, and Rasulullah says, okay, how about you, Abdullah bin Abbas, right? How about you, Abdullah says, that is a death certificate of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The way he mentioned that, and then everyone was so amazed. So that's why I bring him around, right? And this is this person, right? There's a narration that he actually told this story. So when Rasulullah sallallahu stay at his auntie's house, which is Maymunah, he would come and stay over. So he did a sleepover, right? So Rasulullah probably going this way, this way, and then he slept here, right? So and then why he did that? Because he wants to witness Rasulullah Sallam during Tahajjud. This is really amazing that he woke up as Rasulullah woke up. And then how old? Probably was like 6, 7 years old, right? You cannot find people like 6 or 7 year olds easy to wake up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, right? Like I said, if you have a flight in the morning, if you have a 7 year old, you probably have to bring him with his pajama to the airport, right? And then he said, I say Rasulullah woke up and he said the last 10 verses of Al Imran. Inna fi khalqi samawati wal ardi wa ikhtilafi layli wan nahari la ayatan li ulil albab. And he said that, and then after that he took wudu, and then he performed tahajjud. And I also did that as well. I performed tahajjud, and I stood on the left side of Rasulullah SAW, and Rasulullah grabbed my what is- grabbed my ear, and then move it across here.
It was not hands.
Yeah?
It was not hands.
Sorry?
It was not hands.
No, it's actually the ear. Grab the ear. And again, so probably because of the length or the height, sorry, the length, because of the height. It's probably, it would probably not consider like someone upset. It's just probably showing that, right? It is actually a beautiful narration of this hadith, and it shows you that you can actually move during prayer. So this is one of the fiqh that's being derived, for the fiqh has been derived, that you can actually use that, and then not only that, you have to pray on the right side rather than the left side. So next time around, if you're I'm just gonna grab you.
Until years.
Just grab by the ear.
And
Yeah.
I'm giving more access anyway.
Yes, and another narrations about him, we just saw Rasulullah SAW and he prepared the wudu, and there are many narrations, but then it's just amazing how someone with that age, this is the touch of Rasulullah SAW, right? It can turn a young kid into like a big giant eventually, and because of the Rasulullah made dua, and then he become one of the scholars among even among the companions as well. Now, after the demise of Rasulullah SAW, there was almost no stories about her at all. The probably she didn't get involved in the politics or whatever happens about the Khalifa and so on. So, and then she passed away at the age of, well, only half an hour, at the age of 79, almost 80 years old. There was like a 40 years after the demise of Rasulullah SAW. So she must have a quiet life. And then when she passed away, Aisha radhiallahu praised her that she's one of the muttaqin among us. And then before she passed away, she actually asked Uh, so she's one of the wives, not buried in Janatul Baki. She asked that, can you bury me to the place where I get married to Rasulullah SAW? So very, what do you call that? Not nostalgic. Romantically nostalgic. I don't know. Yes, yes. And then Aisha radiallahu anha praised her. That's one of the muttaqin amongst us. So that is all the stories that I can get. Of course, a lot of bits and pieces about, especially about the lady they can offer to become a wife for Rasulullah, and that's pretty much it. But then, what I'm just put as a finale, with the means going back to all the wives of Rasulullah Sallam. So I would probably do a quiz. All right. So now these questions is that, probably not the questions I want to throw, but there's something that, is it only 11? Probably, is there anyone more other than these 11 ladies, our mothers? Uh, there are stories that there are potentially others as well. Of course, the name is not known because probably after the marriage, the marriage is not consummated because the lady passed away, for example, but the name is not clear. Or there was one particular lady from a tribe where her father came, Rasulullah, why don't you marry my daughter? Then our tribe will become Muslim and so on and whatnot. And they marry, and then when and Rasulullah came to her, she told Rasulullah sallallahu, "Auzubillahi minka." I ask Allah protection from you, and Rasulullah said, "Okay, that's the main." And then the name is not known. So I think that's, but all scholars believe all these 11. I think most of the scholars believe that all 11 are the mothers of the believers. But there's also mentioned, if you look at on my previous slide, I also mentioned about Rayhana. Rayhana binti Said is one of the Jewish tribes of Bani Qurayza. Uh, she was actually, is the talk whether she was actually a wife or Milk Yamin. She was actually a Milk Yamin. Uh, Rasulullah offered her to become a wife by giving her dowry, giving her freedom as a dowry, but she decided, no, no, I'm not going to do. I prepare to stay. Bani Qurayza is one of the Jewish tribe that had problem at the time, and they were all. I think there's Bani Kainuka, Bani Qurayza, and then Bani Nadir, the three tribes of the Jewish tribes within Medina. There's another lady by the name of Maria al-Qibtiyah. This Maria al-Qibtiyah is was gifted by, there was what do you call the head of the church or something from from Coptic, from Egypt, the modern Egypt. They're actually two sisters, Maria and Sirin. Sirin got married to one of the companions by the name of Hassan bin Thabit, and Rasulullah got the Maria Kiptiya. Why? She's a Milk Yamin, but she got upgraded to become Walad, because the mother of a baby, because a child, because she gave birth to uh, the the seventh child of Rasulullah SAW by the name of Ibrahim, but Ibrahim bin Muhammad passed away at a very young age, right? So this is all some of the two names at least that you will find other than, but did Rasulullah have any other Miqlamin? Potentially yes, right? But there's at least the two Miqlamins that Rasulullah were known to have relationship. But other than that, they're not probably the name are not mentioned and so on. If you remember Zainab binti Jash with the strong tongue, right? She was at the time. Remember the story that she was going for Umrah, and Safia lost her camel, and Rasulullah offered, why don't you give have share your right with Safia, and Zainab says, you want me to share the right with Yahudiya, right? And Rasulullah was very upset, and Rasulullah didn't say words and didn't talk to her, and then finally, before the last few weeks before Rasulullah passed away, he met a man and then talked to Zainab. Zainab was very happy that she was forgiven, and she gifted her what do you call her slave to Rasulullah SAW. This is the same gift as the wife of Ibrahim, Sarah. Sarah has a slave by the name of Hajar, right? And then when she was worried she was not going to have any child, that she gifted her slave. What do you call it? Slave is not probably good, but I think you know what I mean, right? Slave to Ibrahim alayhi salam. That's where the marriage of Ibrahim and Hajar gave birth to Ishaq. Ishaq, no, Ismail. Sorry, Ismail. Right. So the same time. So there's one of them, but I can't remember the name of the lady from Jannah. So all in all the mothers, they're all from seven from Quraysh. So I just want to do statistic here. Seven for Quraysh, three from non-Quraysh. All right. So name all the Qurayshi wives, and then one from the Jewish lady. Right. All right. Let's go one by one. Khadija binti Khalid. There's so many blessings about them. I just want to pick up one. I will just put it whatever I can think of. Some of the blessings are, of course, first of all, Khadija binti Khalid, the first wife, definitely, she get the blessing for being the first. And then Rasulullah SAW only have children from Khadija as a wife, right? Uh, four daughters. How many sons, brothers? How many sons? Two sons.
Or two and then
Yeah, yeah. So four daughters. Anyone remember the name? Cross Fatima,
okay, yeah.
Rukaya,
Cool.
Zainab, and Kulthum. Yes, mashallah. And then is the only wife that Rasulullah actually that spent the time until Rasulullah died at the time of Rasulullah still alive. Of binti Guzaimah, that's not the one after that. And the first to accept Islam. Definitely, there's so much blessing. And then the source of a comfort during Rasulullah. She is actually the comfort. Like if you see here, every great man, there's a great lady behind a great man, or something like that, right? So Khadija was the person behind Rasulullah SAW because during the most difficult time of da'wah, she was there, right? Remember during when he just came back from receiving revelation, when cover me, and who's the one who covered? We comfort Rasulullah SAW. I was other than our mother Khadija, right? The second wife, Saudah binti Zam'ah, I was just thinking that the ayat of hijab revealed because of her as the asbab. And Aisha binti Abu Bakr, this is very, very hard to pick one or two blessings for her. This is because not so many hadith narrated for Khadijah because during the time probably the conditions, everything is not many stories. But during Aisha time, people are already starting collecting hadith and so on. So if talk about the blessings of Aisha, it's just you have probably have to spend days for that. But one of them, she's the only one who were virgin. That all the other wives, they're all widows, and then the only lady from the completely Muslim family. The father is Muslim, the other brothers is Muslim, the mother is Muslim, and she was number four, the top four hadith narrator. After who's the top one? Abu Hurairah, Abdurrahman bin Sakir, and Abdullah bin Umar, and Anas bin Malik. Then come our mother Aisha, right? And it's actually beat Abdullah bin Abbas and Jahir bin Abdullah and Said bin Khudri. Uh, oh, this is very, very interesting as well. Um, all other wives ganged up. They raised a petition to Rasulullah SAW. Why every guest that come to visit you only when you're at the night of Aisha, right? And everyone, they asked Fatima to talk about that, they asked Salama to talk about that, and Rasulullah was very upset. Do not irritate me about Aisha, right? Why these guests come while there was the time of, even Jibril came with revelation when I'm in the house of Aisha. So even Jibril also decided to go at the time of, this is one of the blessings. And the other blessings of Aisha is, of course, the passing away of Rasulullah. Aisha mentioned Rasulullah when he passed away, my saliva is in his mouth because She was helping her with the miswak. Right? Not only that, she actually passed away on the night of Aisha, and he passed away in the house of Aisha, and he was buried in the house of Aisha. So you can imagine the blessing of Aisha radiallahu anha. Right. The next one, Hafsa binti Umar. I can think of she was divorced, and then uh, Jibril came to take her back, and it says because her deeds of prayer and amal that save her from this. Another blessing is the first copy of Quran. She's the one who is the guardian of the first copy of the Quran. Right. So this, yes, okay. I didn't hear that. Next one, Zainab binti Khuzaimah is very short-lived. It's only a few months, right? The only one who did not outlive Rasulullah SAW, of course, after Khadijah. Everyone outlived Rasulullah SAW except Zainab binti Khuzaimah. So not many stories about her, unfortunately. Salama, everyone believe, even Aisha mentioned herself. She's the wisest among us, is wisest of the wife. And then her biography, her short biography, is actually captured in. Oh, I cannot. Obviously, this is Surah Ali Imran. Uh,
195.
Fastajaba lahum rabbum anila udiu amala amili minkum min zakarin aw unsa. All right. Allah mentioned that never Allah will allow that your hard work lost, right? Because either you male or female, wal zakara wal unsa, right? Because you come from one another. You, for those of you who hijrah for Allah or evicted from your house for Allah, the harm for Allah, and then you fight in the battle for Allah, and then you get killed because for Allah. This all actually the biography of the family of Salama and her husband Abu Salama. So her biography is actually captured in this surah. Uh, then Allah mentions, I will solely remove you from all the misdeeds and put you into Tajri min tahtiha al-anhar, the garden with the water underneath. Zainab binti Jahsh. Zainab binti Jahsh is very unique as well. Why? Because her wedding contract we recited until today and will still be recited until the end of time. This is Surah Al-Hazab. Allah actually mentioned, we married you to Zainab, right? So because of that, Rasulullah just came to the house of Zainab. So there's no nikah, no need nikah. This ayah already revealed for us, right? So that's why she sometimes boasted, I'm the only one who married Rasulullah from the seventh heaven. The marriage contract coming from the seventh heaven. So even until today, we still recite it. This is the blessing of Zainab binti Jas. Juwaria binti Harith, this is the non-Quraysh from the Banu Mustalik. And then, and again, this is her freedom, was actually the dowry. So she was a captive, and she became the wife of Rasulullah. The same thing as Safiya, the Jewish lady. And one of the blessing for her when she became Muslim, the whole tribe became Muslims as well. Habibah, the daughter of Abu Sufyan, when her husband converted to Christianity, and then she became a widow, and Rasulullah sent someone to Najasi, which is the king of Abyssinia at the time, to propose the marriage on his behalf. So the marriage of Habibah with Rasulullah SAW was actually through the king Najasi. Safiya binti Huyai, she's the Jewish lady that we talk about. She's the last person, even before the passing away of Rasulullah SAW, Rasulullah actually praised her. Because he came, I remember last month, she came and Rasulullah was really in pain. And then she said that, oh, I wish I was the one who feel your pain right in front of the other wives. And the other wives, for what is drama is it, right? And then Rasul actually present. No, she was actually truthful. Right? So that all, 45 minutes. That's all the stories about all mothers that will conclude the stories of all the 11 mothers of the Ummahatul Mu'minin. So if any questions or any query, if not, then we can conclude We'll see you next month.